Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to cover a topic I've covered in the past, which is how strong was Vegeta at the Cell games? For me, this has always been something that I've put a bit of thought into because you never see Vegeta really fight at the Cell games outside his fight with the Cell Juniors. Now, the Cell Juniors are comparable to Cell in his perfect form, as Cell states himself, however they are not Cell, so it's always a good gauge to see where he's at. Now, Goku and Gohan, they were the benchmark prior to the Cell games. They surpassed Vegeta in his Grade 2 form, or Ascended Super Saiyan form, and when they emerge from the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, or the Room and Spirit of Time, we see them in their Mastered Super Saiyan forms, which is basically that their base state becomes Super Saiyan. They are that used to that being their natural form, they don't have to waste energy transforming, and they also don't have the strain on their bodies of the transformation while fighting. They can just spend their energy powering up. Now, Vegeta figures this out rather quickly. Trunks is a little confused by this, but Vegeta is able to clarify very quickly what they've achieved, and chances are that he may have thought about this, or basically came up with the idea while he was in the time chamber. We never really know, but he decided to go down the route of the Grade 2 form. Now, the Grade 2 form had enough power and enough speed to surpass Cell's second form. As we know, we see on screen Vegeta easily dominates Cell in his second form, and so does Trunks. But the more you push that form into Grade 3, it has weaknesses with speed. Power, not a problem. Speed, though, is where it really suffers. Now, Vegeta basically is one of two characters, the other being Trunks, that decides to do a second visit to the Room and Spirit of Time. And during his second visit, we don't see on screen what he accomplishes, but one can surmise that he basically would be aiming for Goku's power that he experienced. Now, what I mean by that is, when Goku powers up for Korin to get a gauge of how he matches up against Cell, he outputs 50% of his power. Now, for all Vegeta knows, that could roughly be around Goku's ceiling, which we know is not. When he fights Cell during the Cell games, we are well aware of the fact that he does power up further past that 50%, and him and Cell are able to fight at a level even greater than Goku's 50%. Vegeta, though, at that time, only sensing 50% of Goku's power, may assume that that's what he has to aim for. So he goes back into the Room and Spirit of Time. Now, Goku, obviously, when he fights Cell, powers up further than that, and that is not his ceiling. His ceiling, 100%, is way above what a Vegeta's power level is at when he emerges from the Room and Spirit of Time after another year. But what my point is here is, where do we measure Vegeta against Goku and against Cell? Well, Goku, obviously, at 100%, is double of what he was when Goku powered up for Korin to test his power level against Cell's. Vegeta didn't know that, though, so he would have aimed to beat that 50% margin that Goku portrayed on screen. And I'm quite confident Vegeta accomplished this, whether he started using the Mastered Super Saiyan form and started training towards that, but hadn't quite mastered it yet, hence why he's not always in a Super Saiyan state, or perhaps he just further refined his Super Saiyan Grade 2 form. However, Vegeta's quite smart, and I don't believe he would have used a transformation or a state that he deems weaker. So I think when he came out, he was in the process of improving his Mastered Super Saiyan form, but he hadn't mastered it to the stage that Goku and Gohan had. We do know that Gohan is obviously stronger than Goku as well when they emerge from the Room and Spirit of Time. Now, Vegeta, I think, was stronger at the Cell games than Goku's 50% of his full power. Now, the reason I say that is Vegeta seems quite confident when he's watching Goku and Cell fight each other. And it's not until a certain point of the fight that he becomes kind of upset with the fact that Goku has gotten even stronger than he thought. Cell obviously surpasses Goku's ceiling. Goku at 100% is more powerful than Vegeta, and Cell surpasses that by another percentile. We don't know exactly what that percentage is going to be, but it's going to be decent, considering that Gohan was even stronger than Goku, and Cell was stronger than Gohan by a significant margin until Gohan transformed into a Super Saiyan 2. I think, personally, Vegeta could have gotten further gains if he had have trained with Trunks for a second year and mastered the Super Saiyan form together. However, I don't think he got anywhere near Goku's full power at the Cell Games. I think he would have gotten to about 70% of Goku's full power. Now, 70% is pretty generous, and I also think it's quite accurate. He's not really bothered by the fact that Goku and Cell are starting the fight. He's pretty confident by what he's seeing in the arena, and he's actually complementing himself and building himself up to be able to do just what Goku's doing, if not slightly better. It's not until Cell and Goku actually power up that we see what they're capable of, and they can go even further beyond that, really, in short bursts with their attacks, such as the Kamehameha, or Cell can just keep powering up to points that Vegeta can't reach. Now, the reason I believe he's about 70% of Goku, I think he has surpassed Goku's 50% that he showed to Korin, judging by the way he carries himself with the Cell Games, and his confidence. On top of this, we see Vegeta, and Trunks as well, fight the Cell Juniors. And they are doing quite well against the Cell Juniors, and Cell does outright state that they are not as powerful as him, but they are his spawn, and they are very powerful. And I think it's very safe to assume that these Cell Juniors are stronger than the Cell that Vegeta fought the first time when Cell was in his second form. And perhaps even stronger than Cell when he was really holding back his power against Super Saiyan Grade 2 Vegeta. So it really wasn't Vegeta. Vegeta really was not able to get a hit on Cell when they fought in his perfect form until he used his Final Flash, which again, when you use a technique such as the Kamehameha or the Final Flash, it's able to amplify your power in short bursts, which we've seen on screen before as early back as the Saiyan arc. You know, the Earthlings could hide their power from the Saiyans, and then in short bursts with attacks such as the Destructo Disc or Kienzan, or Gohan using the Masenko, all of a sudden on Vegeta's scouter readings, their power levels shoot up. So Vegeta amplifying his power through the Final Flash was enough to damage Cell, but obviously there's something to be said for the fact that Cell was being a little arrogant there, and was caught off guard by the Final Flash. The Cell Juniors that we see Vegeta fighting, I think they're on a higher level than what Cell was displaying against Vegeta when they were fighting the first time. I personally just believe that. I think that the way that the Cell Junior disposed of Vegeta's Final Flash, and this was a stronger Vegeta than we saw the first time, and the way that they were giving Goku, even though he was drained, yes, he had not had a Senzu yet, they were giving Goku a very hard time. And I think that the Goku in his drained state would still probably surpass Vegeta back when he was a Super Saiyan Grade 2 fighting Cell. So that is my thought on the situation and where I would gauge Vegeta. Around 70% of Goku's full power. Trunks maybe 60 to 65. And I say that just based on the way I read the characters on screen. Trunks is a little more impressed. Trunks is second guesses himself more than Vegeta, and he's not as smart when it comes to understanding power, ki, and what you can do with it. He's still learning because he is still young at the end of the day, whereas Vegeta's had a lot more combat experience and he's a lot more weathered when it comes to fighting. But give me your thoughts down below on what you think. Obviously, you can also throw Piccolo into that conversation. He went into the time chamber and he was quite powerful, and he's probably also comparable to Trunks and Vegeta based on what we see on screen. I don't think that you could put Piccolo above Vegeta at that stage. That's just my opinion, but definitely he is up there. We have to remember that when Piccolo went into the Room and Spirit of Time, he was stronger than Vegeta was when he went in there the first time. Vegeta was a Super Saiyan, and Piccolo was fused with Kami and was stronger than Vegeta when he went in there the first time. And I think it's fair to say that because he's able to fight the Cell Juniors quite well on screen, that he received some quite significant improvements in his power, or to his power. We have to remember Trunks was impressed by his power, and Trunks was quite powerful at that stage. Vegeta, on the other hand, was just being a jerk, and that's very common of Vegeta when he down talks other people. But yes, as I said, please leave your thoughts down below on what level of power you think Vegeta had at the Cell Games, and I'll catch you guys later.